Welcome to Weathered Questions, where we answer the questions on your radar.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Weathered Questions. We're already dealing with more than 20 episodes, Jan. We're 20 episodes deep into this thing, and we're already into November. Everything's cooling down. People are already thinking about what are we going to do for Thanksgiving? When are we going to do a family holiday? So getting right down to it now. And of course, the weather gets interesting this time of year, especially when it comes to rain versus snow versus thunderstorms. And that kind of, gives us a little teaser as to what's coming up a little bit later in the episode. But how'd your October treat you, Jan? How was Halloween at your place?
It was really good. Halloween at my place, kind of non-existent.
Oh no!
We kind of live out in the boonies, so there's not much for trick-or-treaters. But I actually traveled back to Lincoln, which is where my first job as a meteorologist was on Halloween. My first chief, the one that I had in Lincoln, he retired after 44 years at the same station on Friday. So went back to celebrate Ken. Congrats, Ken, on your retirement. He'll never hear this. I know he won't. He doesn't social media. He doesn't podcast, but no, it was really good to be back there. So I did get a little pumpkin carving in because I was with one of my former coworkers and his kids for Halloween. But Drew, my husband, he was here holding down the fort, and no trick-or-treaters at our place. How about you, Kai?
Wow. He went totally for infinity with no kids coming by. We had so many apparently that we had an overstock of candy to begin with, and only about a third of the supply was left. And I don't know how many dozens of kids came by, but it was good enough. We were out for a solid hour and a half.
Nice.
We had Bear with us the whole time. If listeners are not familiar with Bear, he's our Cavachon, who is now 5 months old, and 2.3 miles was our official route. And I was Scooby-Doo, and I went with him, and he was Scrappy.
Amazing.
And I went with my daughters, and we had a blast.
What were the girls dressed as?
Well, one was Elphaba, which I'm still trying to figure out exactly what that's all about. I believe that's a Wicked character.
Yeah,
Seriously.
have you not seen Wicked?
No.
Oh,
come on. I haven't seen Wicked.
Oh, it's
No
so
way.
good. I mean, the movie obviously has brought it back up, but you got to go see the show too.
Well, and then
so
my other daughter, her group of girls were all going as the Winnie the Pooh characters. So she went as Eeyore this year.
Oh,
and
I do.
They had
have
a haul of
costume.
candy. They had a haul. I saw a picture because she went with her friends. She's at that age where she just kind of wants to be with a different group. And I said, all right, cool. So they have an entire bedroom where they were sorting their candy on the carpet.
Amazing.
So they got a haul. They had a haul for sure.
Amazing. I did go as Pooh Bear one year. So I fully support that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was fun. It was a great Halloween, and weather was good, a little chilly, but you wouldn't expect much different really this time of year. We had inclement weather though. It was fine.
Exactly. No, we've had plenty of Halloweens where it's been snowy, it's been cold, it's been rainy. As far as things were in Lincoln, and as far as things were here in Des Moines, it was pretty good. So hey, at least we've got that going for us. However, with the temperatures cooling down and stuff, that does even when the weather's decent, it does still pose a little bit of issues sometimes. And sometimes folks have to take some extra considerations as things are cooling down here for the year. So let's get into our first question for the day, which kind of plays into that. This one coming up saying, why do my glasses fog up when it's getting colder outside? Like, why is that changing? Why doesn't that always happen? Why is it happening now? What's going on there, Kai? As a glasses wearer, you should know.
As a glasses wearer, I'm very familiar with this. We see this sometimes in the hot months when we go into air conditioned areas too, kind of a reverse when we come out. But this is the focus on the colder months here. And I'm just going to run an example by you of where this might happen in your everyday life. You walk out of the home to go to work, let's say. And if you're a glasses wearer, there's a really good chance that your frame has some components of metal to it, or maybe it's all plastic. That's fine too. Maybe it's all plastic. Your lenses are probably plastic now. That's fine. But regardless, they are a solid medium that is away from your body. And what that means is they're going to cool down very quickly. So as you walk out of your home in, let's say, 15 degrees, let's just throw it out there, it's 15 degrees. and you have to walk out, get in your vehicle, which is already cold. You get to work, you come out, you got to walk maybe 2 more blocks to get into your office. And you go into the lobby, and all of a sudden it's like dense fog hit your glasses. Happens all the time. This especially happens when you're traveling to family homes for the holidays, and they're the ones cooking, which is totally different set of circumstances, but it's even more favorable inside homes that are cooking food and boiling water. So here's what's going on. The frames and the glasses contact, anything that's physical about your frames or your lenses, they're colder than the dew point of the air you're walking into. And as a result, it's a condensation machine. Happens very quickly. So that's what's going to happen every time you go into a situation where you have some much higher humidity in place. So an example could be a winter's day and you show up to your grandma's house, your parents' house for Thanksgiving. They've got stuff simmering on the stove. The house is already hot. Mm-hmm. Just as an example, if it was only 70 degrees in the home, and let's just say they tried to keep the humidity at 50%, your dew point's close to 50 to 52 in that environment, which means if it's colder than that outside, your glasses are going to be colder than that temperature. And as soon as you make contact with that air mass, you're going to fog your glasses up. And I'll tell you what, Jan, it can last several minutes. I've taken my glasses off before and just said to heck with it, because here's the thing. Unless you've got that proper cloth with you to take care of it, then you can scratch them. And the last thing you want to do is grab some rough paper towel to clean your glasses off. And well, shoot, I came in with pristine lenses like 5 minutes ago. Now they're fogged up. Now I went out from with a paper towel and I scratched them, and that just ruined your whole
Now you have to deal with that forever.
Right. Now, you know what'll wind up happening is you just let them sit off to the side. They'll clear on their own.
Yep.
They'll evaporate. It'll evaporate. Unless you're going into like,
is annoying.
Oh yeah. Unless you're going into a bathroom where somebody just showered, then it might take a while. But otherwise, just stay in the kitchen for a bit, get your glasses oriented, and then you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
That's how it happens. If it's Christmas shopping, holiday shopping you're doing, same problem. You'll be out and about. You'll go into a Yonkers store or Kohl's or whatever you're going to go to, and you'll right when you walk in.
The other thing you kind of mentioned, with somebody cooking, and so you've got that extra humidity, but another place that you would encounter this a lot of times is, let's say, it's winter, wind chill, so you've got a scarf on over your face. And so basically you're pumping all of that moisture from your breath right up. It's kind of sneaking out the top of that scarf right up under your glasses. And so that's another instance where you're kind of adding that extra moisture to the equation, even though you're outside and your glasses are outside and everything is that same temperature. You didn't enter a room that's warm, but you're adding in that warm breath with that moisture and so it's kind of a mini form of that happening.
Yeah, you're basically just doing it to yourself at that point. And we had a whole lot of that with COVID too.
Oh yeah.
People that wore glasses and masks together, it was just a nightmare to try and figure that out. Thankfully, I'm not totally blind without my glasses, but I still wouldn't want to drive with them out. I want to make sure I've got my glasses on when I'm driving, but man, it gets challenging. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Especially this time of year.
Well, we have another very similar question to this, but something that, not everybody wears glasses, but most people that are listening either are drivers themselves, or maybe you're listening while you're driving right now, or maybe you're going to be a driver soon, or at least have experienced this if you're just as a passenger. But the question for this one is, why do I get fog more on my windshield this time of year in the morning?
Yeah, it's a lot of the same science. I mean, if you think about the windshield of your vehicle is like one big pair of glasses, Jan. That's what it is. One big pair of glasses. Except the difference is that it is developed in a very different way. If it's outside of your vehicle, good chance it's just frost this time of year. And at that point, you need to do what's safe. You need to clear the frost from all your surfaces. That includes your windshield and your mirrors, because if you embark, I've seen some folks, I get it, you're in a rush and you just scrape that little bit of frost off right in front of your eyes, and then you can't see anything else. Don't do that. Make sure the windshield's totally clear. Take the time to do it right. But then what happens, and I think where this question's going, is now I'm driving and I got fog. Like, I already cleared the windshield. The frost is done, but now my glass is fogging up again. Like, what the heck's going on? All right, well, there's a couple things.
And no matter what you do, no matter what setting you change, you can't make it right.
Right, exactly. It's a frustrating conundrum. So there's a couple different reasons for this. Number one, especially if it's just you in the vehicle, you might not notice it as much. But if it's a mom and her 3 kids going into a vehicle, everybody's breathing in there. Everybody's letting moisture back out in that car. And what happens if we raise the dew point when the glass is cold? Except this time it's going to fog on the inside, and it's not going to frost on the outside. So that's number one. Number two, which seems weird, show of hands, how many of you shower right before you go to work? And for those of you not named Kai that have much more hair than Kai, and it takes longer for your hair to dry, show of hands, how many times do you leave the house and your long hair is still wet?
Yep.
Now, what have you done? You have gone into the cold vehicle. Not only are you breathing out, but your hair is going, and it is giving so much more moisture to the car. So the only way around that, Jan, is to either just use your hand and keep clearing it, or better, turn on the defrost. That's the best way to do it, preferably on high if you can. And the point of the defrost is twofold. It's warm air and it's dry air. That's the big thing. The warmth and the dryness goes against condensation. It's not an instant process, so it can take some time. But it's not an instant process. If you ever want to preheat your car or let it warm up for a minute or two and blast the defrost on high to try and avoid some of this, you can probably get a little bit ahead on life if you want to do that. But otherwise, that's the main science behind it. And yes, it can be absolutely maddening. It really can.
And that's why when you turn on that defrost, you kind of see it like right up against the bottom there, like
it's right there.
Slowly starts clearing.
Right there.
And it slowly kind of spreads up, and all it's doing is it's just making the glass that correct temperature, right? It's warming the glass up. It's making it a temperature that is not able to form that condensation on it, and it just takes that time. Essentially, what you're seeing as you're seeing that fog clear up is you're seeing where the temperature is getting to that equilibrium across the glass as it's slowly spreading.
And I should also note that this is absent of any sort of electronic assist that you might have. Some cars these days have, heat built into the windshields and all that. I'm just talking about an old-fashioned car like a 2004 Chevy Venture van. Not pointing out examples, but I'm just telling you that's what I've got outside. And that's what happens. That's what happens when I park it outside. So that's the science behind it. It does take some time, but we always encourage safety first. So give it time. If it fogs up on you and it's not safe for you, especially when you're dealing with low sun angles on the way to work and kids trying to get the bus, take your time, make sure stuff's all clear before you go do that.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So let's move on, take a look at our trivia question here for today. And right on the heels of daylight saving, which just happened on Sunday morning, today's question deals with exactly that. So how much daylight did we lose from Saturday into Sunday? Is it A, none, B, 2 to 3 minutes, C, 1 hour, or D, 2 hours? We'll hear a word from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back in just a little bit to give you that answer.
So are you in need of a good family photo? Or perhaps you have a son or daughter getting married and you just can't find that diamond in the rough when it comes to getting that perfect photographer. Well, look no further than Iowa's photographer. With great rates and timely turnaround, his awesome performance will help you coordinate every step of your family's big day. Capturing the beauty of Iowa one photo at a time, head to iowasphotographer.com.
Today's trivia question.
All right, welcome back. The question today, how much daylight did we lose from Saturday into Sunday? And we do have multiple choice for you. So A, none, B, 2 to 3 minutes, C, 1 hour, or D, 2 hours. Again, how much daylight did we lose from Saturday into Sunday? This past weekend, if you're listening, the past weekend was daylight saving. So early November timeframe.
Don't overthink it, folks. Please don't.
Yeah.
Please don't overthink this.
All right. The answer is B, 2 to 3 minutes. So if you said that 1 hour time frame, it's an easy trap to fall into with daylight saving, right? But it's how much daylight did we lose? We just shifted the clocks around an hour. We did not lose an hour. We did not necessarily gain an hour. The clocks were just shifted. We didn't, add daylight or lose daylight. We just shifted it around. However, because of the sun angle and the rotation of the earth and everything else that we know about seasons and all that stuff, we did still lose 2 to 3 minutes, depending on where you are in the world, just because of that. Or I guess if you're listening in the southern hemisphere, then technically you would have probably gained 2 to 3 minutes. Well, we should say that too.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it just depends on where you are, but we don't have that kind of power. You just can't go to your clock radio and change it, and all of a sudden you have more light than you actually truly do. I have usually the Monday after this. Back when I did broadcasting, our inboxes would have conspiracy theorists in there. One of them actually thought that the flood of 2008 was caused by daylight saving because we sprang forward and thus melted all the snow. And I could not engage with that person. There was no winning that argument because they were insane.
Yep.
That's just the truth of it.
There are plenty of those people where we just don't touch it.
No, you can't. And sometimes you look at it and you go, are you serious? Like, this is an educational gap that we need to try and fix. And I hope that we have fixed it here today. We as human beings do not have that kind of power over the planet or the solar system. Whatever time it is in your world, we still only have a set amount of daylight, and we're still going to lose it at a rate of about 2 or 3 minutes per day, all the way from here to the winter solstice. And then guess what? They start getting longer again. And then it goes to the summer solstice. And guess what? They start getting shorter again. Yeah.
And the closer you get to those solstices, it does get a little bit less dramatic, I guess, in terms of how much. But in general, right now, this time of year, 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sorry to sound so John Madden about that, but this is one of those cases where it's such an obvious thing. And if you have any people that actually think it's an hour, just challenge their thinking a little bit and say, okay, well, where'd we get that from? And see what they say. Or better yet, just move on with your day and ignore it. And don't even try to deal with it. Speaking of Madden, though, it wasn't NFL football. This was an Iowa State football game, Jan, that you went to and attended.
Yeah, I got asked this question in person.
Yes, and so this is a true in-person weathered question. It was not emailed or texted. It was verbal, right to Jan, and it was sporadically sprinkling during the game, but at one point it began sleeting, but the temperatures were in the upper 40s. What's going on, Jan? What say you?
Yeah, so sleet, for those who don't know their precipitation types, sleet is essentially a frozen raindrop. So it's a little ball of ice, right? And we were having some of these kind of collecting on our blankets. It was a not fun game, kind of miserably cold and rainy and wet, and we lost too. So yeah, just not a great game. But we had this sleet collecting on our blankets, and yeah, the question was, it's not freezing. What's going on here? And essentially what's going on is way up in the atmosphere where that precipitation is forming. It's cold. It probably started as snow, actually, most likely at this time of year in this part of the country, falls down through a warm layer and melts into a raindrop. Then it falls into a shallow, cold layer of air, still well above the ground, that will freeze it back. So it goes from this snow crystal, with those 6 little branches and everything that we know our snowflakes have, into a raindrop. Then that raindrop freezes. It doesn't freeze back into a snowflake. It freezes just into a little ball of ice. That's our sleet. And then as it goes down to the ground, that layer of air at the ground that was above freezing, it was in the 40s there at the game, it's too shallow of a layer. It's not long enough that sleet can melt. And so it made it all the way to us on the ground, still frozen as that little sleet kind of ball. actually mixed with raindrops. It was raining and sleeting simultaneously. And again, that can happen just depending on, again, where that precipitation is starting, what layers it's falling through and everything. But yeah, it was kind of an interesting little observance for us there at the game.
Well, and if the temperatures were even colder, say, under 20 degrees, less than 20, aloft, you may have just had some snowflakes mixed in. But a neat experiment to try, and just going, on your point that you just said, that the layer was thin enough to prevent much melting going on. There's also a heck of a lot less surface area in an ice ball versus an ice plate.
Yes.
So it really has less opportunity to melt as it falls in that case. And a great example that you can do right in your own home is go grab a gum wrapper or something that, I don't know, is 2 inches by 2 inches, maybe an old Post-it note, and have one of your kids ball it up as tight as they possibly can, stand up, raise it as high as they can, and drop it, and time how long it takes to hit your carpet. Then grab the same material, whether it's a gum wrapper or a Post-it note, leave it flat and let them release it, and see how much longer it takes the flat item to get to the ground versus the little spherical ball. And it has to do with air resistance. And if there's less residence time in that warm layer, it's going to melt a whole lot less. And so as a result, you guys got a mix of ice and rain and a loss, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So it was cold and it was what it was, but good observation. I'm glad people are still thinking about it, and you happen to be right there. It was very handy.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, very handy for them to reach out to you and get the actual answer, I think. But this is the time of year it starts to happen more. And I would argue, too, if we went back and looked at radar, I bet there'd be some yellow going on over you guys when that happens.
Yes. Yep. It, naturally, as a meteorologist, pulling up radar, through watching a football game, watching radar on the side. But yeah, there was some very, very small pockets of precipitation. It was very spotty in nature, but those pockets that were forming did have some pretty high returns. So, if you were looking at the radar, it would seem like it was about to pour, but it was really just the different material that the radar was picking up on, creating those higher returns.
Yep, absolutely. Call that process bright banding when that happens. So
we'll get into
probably
that
see
in a
more of
future
that
episode, maybe.
Yes, we will. Absolutely. One real quick note here before we close this episode here this week. So we'll be very transparent. These are not live episodes. We do record them in advance, typically not that far in advance. But this particular episode is being recorded on Sunday night, November 2nd. And we're going to bring to you just a little bit about this whole YouTube TV versus some of the networks situation that's going on. Ultimately, especially with live sports, that comes into play. But, live weather can also come into play, too, if we have severe weather and things like that. But there is a dispute going on between some fairly high-end carriers of things, like streaming capabilities and other large corporate conglomerates together. And we claim to know nothing about the specifics, and we don't. But what we're here to tell you is, there's ways to still get your information. And, both Jan and I have been in television a long time, and we've had to deal with these phone calls.
Yes.
The biggest thing that I would request that you do is if you're angry at your local television station, I promise you they have no control. So
redirect that.
Redirect your frustration somewhere else, because both Jan and I have been on the receiving end of those calls, and you get called, a greedy monster and all this other stuff. And how dare I lose my channel and all this business. Well, the truth is you actually haven't lost it. Broadcast television has been available over the air free for over 50 years from main affiliates.
Classic antenna. Never goes out of style.
It doesn't. And even on the smartest of TVs that are out there, you probably have an antenna jack. And it says ANT on it. None of the kids below age 14 know what the heck that is, but the parents should.
Yeah.
And what that means is you go get yourself a nice HD TV antenna, and you plug that puppy in, and all of a sudden ABC comes back for you. And you use it as a source on your station. But the bottom line is, at least from my perspective in Eastern Iowa, and you'll have a chance for yours too, Jan, be kind to the local employees, because they have nothing to do with this. If you go in there and you want to slam a news anchor or slam a reporter or, even some of the high-end people at these stations, I promise you they have nothing to do with it. So save your frustration. Don't be mean about it. It'll resolve just like everything else. But I did want to at least offer you an opportunity. Hey, just get an antenna. That can solve a lot of your woes right there.
As a millennial, I have an antenna on my TV. Proud of it. Never without.
Yes. Good for you. That's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, it's free. Why not? Like those local channels are over the airwaves for free. It's one of the important things. It's one of the hallmarks of local TV is that you can always get it. So, but I have seen actually some people who have invested in an antenna now in the last couple of days because they want to watch, their team play sports or whatever it is. Right. So, there are options. Maybe you have to pay a little money to get the antenna, but then you have it and you're never without your TV. And to Guy's point, right? Like if you're calling your local station and saying, frustrated that you don't have your channel, frustrated that you can't watch your show, whatever it may be, unfortunately, they cannot help you. No. They cannot do that. Even if they were to pass along your comment, that comment's probably not going to get to the person who actually can make that decision. That person is so high up in both the network or YouTube or whoever it is. The people making those calls are not your meteorologists. They are not your anchors or your sports reporters or whoever is answering the phone calls at your local station. And it's kind of a customer service case where, you don't yell at them. Don't get frustrated with them because they will absolutely try to help you if they can. But unfortunately, this is not something in their power. And they're equally as frustrated with it.
Yeah, believe me, working at a station where that's happened a number of times, that's when we would find out that an outage is coming, we'd be like, oh no, it's going to be really bad. And it was, and then there'd be all these false statements. And a lot of people don't realize that to press the button on the remote to get to a television display, you've got the data stream, you've got a transmission agreement, you've got a retransmission agreement, and then you've got to find a way to get it to your house. So there's a lot of moving parts that the everyday citizen has no clue as to what's going on, and neither do the TV station employees. So just be kind about it. They'll figure it out. They can't go for long. I mean, these companies need each other's revenue, so they can't go for long at this impasse. But we just want to pass that along for our fellow broadcasters that are out there. It's not your fault. Don't treat them poorly. Give them respect. Sit back and let this thing sort itself out.
Yeah. Well, that takes us to the end of another episode of Weathered Questions. Thank you, everyone who submitted a question today or, had one again in person. Thank you for those of you as well. Remember to share our podcast with your friends, with your family, invite them to listen in, invite them to ask a question as well. It's weatheredquestions@gmail.com. If you want to join the conversation, you can always send us something, just type it out, or you can always send us an audio file too. We'd love to play that on air as well. But until next week, everyone, thanks for listening and stay safe.